This is a money mindset video about what to do when somebody tells you in the middle of a conversation that they're uncomfortable with your price, either that it's too much or they can't do it, or whatever their objection is. They're saying that they're uncomfortable with the number, they're uncomfortable with the investment. How do you handle that? The first thing to say here that I want to say is that most coaches will lean back and say, oh, yep, my prices are too much. I need to negotiate against myself. I need to back off. I need to let go of this. I guess I didn't really need to get that much anyway. I want you to do, it's not really the opposite, but rather than leaning out, I want you to lean in and get really interested and find out exactly what's going on in their head, because you may be really surprised. So what I want you to do, if somebody says that's too much, or I'm not comfortable with that, or whatever words it is that they say, lean in and ask them, what exactly about it is it that you're uncomfortable with? And be quiet. Anything else you say at that point is your own stuff. Don't negotiate against yourself. Don't offer them things. Just ask them, what is it that they're uncomfortable with? Because sometimes they'll say the number is too big. Sometimes they'll say, hey, I can't pay that all at once. Can I do a payment plan? Sometimes they'll say, something else just came up, and you're getting to the real objections when you ask them what it is exactly that they're uncomfortable with. Then you can have a conversation with what they're thinking and what they're worried about. You want to find out what is it in their head that's stopping them from moving ahead with this. Very often, it's not actually the money, where they'll say something totally different. They'll be like, oh, that's just, I have to talk to my wife, or I never make a decision like this in less than 24 hours, or actually, I'm not sure you're the right person for me. For example, so I had an enrollment conversation with somebody, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago or something. And I got to the end and I offered him an investment and said, here's what it's going to look like for 8 weeks. And he said, yeah, that's not going to work. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. He was very direct. He said, that's not going to work. And I said, okay, tell me more. What exactly is it about that doesn't work for you? And he said, I'm not sure you're the right person to take me through that entire 8-week process. And I said, oh, okay. Well, he's not pushing me on the price. He's pushing me on the length of time to work together. And I said, tell me more. What does that look like for you? And he said, well, from what you've described, you are the best person to work with me through the first half of that. But the second half of that, I think somebody else might be better. And I thought to myself, okay, so he's saying he wants to work with me for 4 weeks and 4 sessions and create a certain outcome together, and then decide whether he wants to do the second 4 weeks with me or do it with somebody else. And I checked in with myself. Is that something I feel comfortable with? If it's something I don't feel comfortable with, I don't want to take his money because I'm going to resent it afterwards. If it's something I do feel comfortable with, then I want to create a new offer for him, which is what I did. And he said, oh, so it's half the amount, right? And I said, no, it doesn't quite work that way. Shorter is actually harder because I have to try and get you nearly the same result in 4 weeks instead of 8. So it's going to be a little bit more than that. Here's what it looks like. And he said, okay, let's figure that out. I'm going to talk to my business partner. And so I had my conversation with him that I initiate when somebody says they need to bring somebody else into the conversation. And we came to an agreement and we moved ahead with the conversation. So that's how you handle when you have a conversation with somebody about this. You want to lean in and be present with them and have the conversation with what they're thinking, not what's in your head.